Hello, Turning Green family and friends. Today, I am going to be presenting the journey of my climate action project, Climate Kids. So one of the first steps I took to begin my climate action project was researching and reading books for inspiration. In my search, Youth in Power by Jamie Margolin presented a pathway for starting Climate Kids. She said, to start something new that will be meaningful and contribute to the greater good of the community and cause you're fighting for, you have to get in touch with your why and see how that ties into the ecological niche you are filling. So let's talk about my why. When I was young, I always felt connected to the environment. I lived in rural Indiana where my family taught me to value the earth and all that it gave us. Nature surrounded me, and I loved to observe its inner workings. I knew that I couldn't stand by and see climate change destroy the nature that I loved. Now that we have covered my why, I want to talk about my ecological niche. Climate change is already affecting people's livelihoods, health, and homes, yet many people are still uninformed about its effects. The climate crisis is already here, but far too often the topic of climate resiliency is ignored. This is why I found my ecological niche to be increasing climate resiliency through climate literacy. And this could be done by involving kids, because young people are the future, and we need to help prepare them with the necessary information to make informed decisions. This is why I created Climate Kids, a climate resiliency campaign for the city of West Lafayette. After forming a team of local activists, we developed the overarching mission to engage kids in our community through outreach programs to increase their climate literacy and kickstarted structural change to increase our climate resiliency. After developing the broad goal of increasing climate literacy, I stumbled across the concept of climate emergencies to help increase global climate resiliency. These are emergency declarations made by cities or towns to acknowledge humanity is in a climate emergency. I wanted West Lafayette to be one of the first cities in Indiana to pass a climate emergency and pave their path to climate resiliency. So to start, I met with the mayor and the president of the city council about passing a climate emergency. I then began drafting the declaration, and I developed and organized a campaign to show community support. The climate emergency was introduced and passed unanimously in the beginning of February, making it the first direct step my city had taken to become more climate resilient. In the process of passing the emergency, I gained several skills, such as drafting legislation and working with legislators. Seeing the concrete effects of my activism gave me the confidence I needed to continue my fight for climate resiliency. After the climate emergency, we pivoted to focus on youth. I realized that there was not much youth engagement in my city government. This is a major issue because it is essential for youth voices to be heard at all levels of government. This led me to my next project, establishing a youth position on the Go Greener Commission, which was established by the city to boost green efforts in West Lafayette. Many of the climate-related projects and important decisions in the city are run through the Go Greener Commission. Through more research, I discovered that Goshen, Indiana has a youth city councilor. So I reached out to the mayor of Goshen, and during our meeting, he referenced a statute for Indiana that could be utilized in West Lafayette. This gave me everything I needed to reach out to the head of the Go Greener Commission. I convinced her that a youth position on the commission was necessary, and from here, I wrote the bylaws and the requirements and details for the position. And starting this fall, there will be a high school junior or senior that will serve as a voting member on the Go Greener Commission. So now the youth of West Lafayette are fairly represented in the climate conversation. With my next project, I wanted to educate kids directly. So I reached out to STEAM programmers at the local library and worked with them to implement an educational vertical garden program, Gardening Up the Walls. The program educated kids on topics such as food insecurity and the importance of plants and climate resiliency. Adapting to weather and COVID restraints, a team of peers and I converted the program format into a virtual video construction. We created a video documenting the steps of building a vertical garden out of recycled plastic bottles. The participants left with a better understanding of how vertical gardens can combat food insecurity and how to organize around a community issue that they care about. I also wanted to create a place where community members could learn more about climate issues. So I created a virtual information hub consisting of informative climate science research, climate resiliency efforts, activism related blog posts, and step-by-step projects. I thought this virtual platform would be accessible to everyone, but then I realized that not everyone has access to electronic devices or stable internet connection. I wanted to make sure that kids in my community had access to climate resiliency resources, no matter their geographical location, economic status, or individual needs. To solve this problem, I thought of little free libraries, but with a twist. Purely climate related topics and materials are included. So we constructed the libraries to make climate learning materials more accessible, equitable, and within walking distance of everyone in the city. We mapped out the city and found 8 ideal locations to host a library. My team and I applied and received several grants from Purdue University and Ashoka to fund building materials for the libraries in over 100 books. So over the past few months, we have been constructing and painting the libraries, and actually we just finished the installation today. So here are a few next steps for Climate Kids. We want to expand programs to cover more topics and spread across the state, pass more climate emergencies across Indiana, create a youth city councilor position in West Lafayette, and work more closely with kids after COVID. My project didn't just help my city, it also helped me grow as a person. The climate emergency and youth advisor position helped me realize that I want to dedicate my professional life to climate policy. Working on programs for kids with vertical gardens taught me how to teach and cater to different audiences. Painting the libraries tapped into my creative side to have a beautiful and impactful end product. While growing as a person, I also achieved my original goal by implementing initiatives that engaged youth and increased climate resiliency in my city. Climate Kids had high-level policy impact through the Climate Emergency Declaration, structural change through the creation of a permanent position for youth in city government, hands-on education through the vertical garden programs, and sharing knowledge and community impact through the libraries. I am so incredibly proud of what I have been able to achieve with my work because it has tangibly increased climate resiliency in my city through climate literacy and permanently involved youth in the important decisions of shaping our future. Thank you.